Thank you. Aki, would you mind?
Yep,
Yes.
I have just shared my screen. Can you all see my screen, please?
We can see the
Yes.
desktop.
All right, cool.
Yeah, perfect.
Give me
Thanks,
a
Aki.
moment.
Maybe you can just stick here for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So it looks
So,
fine
hello
at your end,
everyone.
Srikirti?
Yeah, we're good to begin.
Okay.
So, very good evening, everyone. I'm truly delighted to extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you. So, to this exciting series, we were doing the series from last month on multiple installation. This is more of an infra series. So, I just welcome each and every one of you. And if you have any questions, we have sliders where you can post your questions, and we'll be happy to take questions at the end of the session. Even if you have anything in the middle, just keep posted your questions in the slider, and we'll be taking it from there. Myself, Srikirti, I'm Technical Account Manager at UiPath, and along with me, we have Ramkrishna. He is also a colleague and working as a Technical Account Manager at UiPath. We will be taking this session, and like I said, this is more of a focus on automation suite installation for multi-node. We will be covering this session in upcoming. Okay, can you slide? So this is the slider link. Maybe you can scan it and keep it handy. We have also pasted the slider link in the chat. You can use it for posting your queries and questions. I'm posting it again in the chat window. Can any one of you confirm if it is accessible to all of you? Yeah, just let's wait on.
Yep.
Maybe Rohit, you can also confirm if the link is up and running. You can access the link.
Yeah, it is accessible. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'll encourage you all to actively participate, ask questions, and share your insights also during the session. If you have anything, we'll be happy to answer it. Okay. So, as I said, this is the series that is going on from last month. Started with standalone UiPath Orchestrator upgrade for AS and PaaS installation for 22.23 version. Then we had UiPath installation for Looker upgrade. Next was Test Manager and Action Center upgrade, where we are working on solely on the infra side, where we are having a hands-on session for demos, how exactly we are doing an upgradation and working on the infra side to do step-by-step guide. This is the automation suite installation. We'll do a walkthrough of each and every command that will be needed in the installation. And where it is not possible, we have a slide screenshots where we'll be demonstrating how it looks like for running those commands if it's taking more than 30 minutes or 1 hour. So we have just snapshots ready. Aki, can we dive in? So this is the agenda for today. We have automation suite introduction, basic introduction, what UiPath offering have for UiPath for automation suite. Then the products, what all products we are including in the automation suite as a package, as a bundle. Then we will be walking through with the hardware and software requirements. Next, which comes with pre-configuration machines.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. Machines and their all SQL database servers and certificates. We'll talk about that. And then the final demo time where we'll run each and every command where it's possible. And if not, then we'll be sharing the screenshots how the template will be looking like to demonstrate step by step. And the post-installation activities, once the installation is done, how the layout looks like and what all the services it looks post-installation. And at the last, we have a Q&A session. So starting with automation suite, as you can see, UiPath has two offerings, cloud and the on-prem one. In automation cloud, what we offering as we can just use all the services just with a login system. Definitely a license is required. You can just avail for a license, create an account, and you can use all the services as a SaaS platform. So all you need is a login and the license on the automation cloud to use UiPath services. Wherein on-prem we have two different setup, which is on-prem installation, and a Linux one, which is bundled with Automation Suite. So in this Automation Suite, I would get a little bit on the overview side. This is more where you enable where Automation Suite enables you to deploy all the UiPath automation platform in a Linux environment. So if you're ranging to use multiple UiPath applications, you can have the setup embedded in your on-prem virtual machines, and you can use on the cloud subscription matter to any major providers. So with this bundle, what exactly comes in is Automation Suite includes all the server products, except any new offering that will be coming on Automation Cloud first. But as the on-prem services, we have all the shared capabilities that will that enables for easy configuration and integration with easy existing systems such as AD and SML across all the products. Side by side with Automation Suite, we have a common end user portal where you can see all the services, where you can enable and disable all the services in just one platform. The major feature, I would say, it has also Kubernetes-based infrastructure where you can manage your clusters, you can monitor your tools, and all the pre-configured dedicated optimized UiPath tools that it is enabling and running all the products scaling at a hard setup. Can you switch the slide?
Sure.
Yeah. So this is what we were talking about. First setup is Automation Cloud, where you can enable all the products with just one offering as a SaaS setup. You can just enable all the services with a cloud logging and the license. The second on-prem versions will be our Linux version that we are focusing today now in Automation Suite. For Automation Suite also, we have two given setup. One is online, other is offline. So, or we can say as air gap and non-air gap. Today we will be focusing more on a air gap installation, where we will be walking us through for all the end-to-end steps involved in an air gap installation of Automation Suite. So we have also with that we have we will be covering a multi-node setup. We have 3 nodes already set it up, in which one node we have one fully fledged Automation Suite up and running. For other 2, we have kept it up for demonstration, where RK will be walking you guys through from one step to step how we will be proceeding with multi-node setup of the Automation Suite installation. So this is what Automation Suite key benefits look like. We will be talking slightly about key benefits. Would be enterprise ready suite. Once we have installed the installation, done with the installation, we have a full fledged installation setup ready, where you can install and manage this suite as a whole with a single experience. So basically, you can say it's a single management plane, where you can have all the where you can build all the use all the services included with all UiPath products. The other comes with flexible installation and easy update. Once you install, you can easily upgrade with just a command like we have all in Linux applications and other programs. The third one is integrated infrastructure and cluster management, like we were focusing on. It comes with a configurations and bundle. So either you can optimize with UiPath, or it can be supported by UiPath. So you can simplify your permissions and management and have ultimate control. So it will be giving you unified users and tenant management with this given dashboards. So talking about more on the deployment scenarios, we have different modes of installation. Either it could be one single node evaluation or single node installation. Then other comes with a multi-node setup, which we are covering today with 3 given nodes and one-to-one go. Can you switch?
Yep.
Yeah. So like we were talking about enterprise ready suite. Once the installation is done, it comes with several offerings as a UiPath platform server products, which will be helping you to govern all the security that will be coming with Automation Suite packages. You'll have multiple organization and the same infrastructure ready. So if you want to add on any new feature or any new product with this on-prem setup, you can easily enable and disable those with the help of this setup. You don't have to go through a separate installation for any product. So for example, let's say the automation suite has been enabled and you are working upon the document under do you setup or maybe a discovery setup, so you can easily manage those products with the help of this enterprise ready suite. You just need to enable those services and you're good to go. There's no separate installation that will be coming into the picture, and it will be a platform ready setup for you guys. Like I was talking about a flexible installation and easy update. You can update and you can update and upgrade the versions, the services that we are offering in this. We'll be focusing more of our on-prem Linux versions today. We'll be demonstrating installation for just automation suite and maybe enabling few services to showcase how it looks like. We'll also taking an overview of the Kubernetes inside. So I think we can just get ahead with this installation and upgrade management. Before we go ahead, we also talk more about on cluster management. We are using Rancher here for the UI layering for managing all the cluster. It's easy to use and it's really flexible to update. So the UI provides a cluster exploration to manage all the deployment and automation suite installation. So these are the list of automation suite products that we are bundling with the automation suite packages. Action Center, AI Center, Applications, Automation Hub, Automation Ops, Data Services, Document Understanding, Computer Vision, Insights, Orchestrator, which is right now we are focusing with Automation Suite Robots, Process Mining, Task Mining, and Test Manager, all as a discovery bundle. So these all services are being bundled with Automation Suite packages. Here comes the initial requirements. So from this point, we are actually starting with the prerequisite of the installation. In this further upcoming slides, we'll be talking more of hardware and software requirements, because I think for the automation suite installation, we have to take a major time to understand what all configuration we will be needing for the setup. And once your environment is ready and your minimum configuration is ready, the installation becomes easy. Otherwise, it's a messy thing, and we have to again come back to read through all the configurations and redo the steps altogether. So we'll be focusing more on the hardware and software requirements here. Talking with the basic requirement, we'll be starting with the Linux VMs. The minimum requirement will be 3 VMs. It's basically in the ratio of N2 plus 1 nodes. It's recommendation. It could be greater than as well, but we'll be keeping as a formula for N2 plus 1. But the minimum requirement will be switching between 3 VMs. This is what we are keeping for demo purpose also today. Our orchestrator will be RHL with 8.3 and 8.8 root access requirement. For CPU will be 32 as a minimum configuration. If it exceeds, depending upon the business use cases, if you're working on several services and all, definitely you can increase, but this will be the minimum requirement that we'll be keeping in. RAM will be 16 GB and disk will be 2 terabyte. I think RAM will also be covering these configurations while taking the slides of installation for all disk spaces and disk partitioning. So he'll be talking more about all these configurations at the time of walking through the steps.
Yes.
And then comes Microsoft SQL Server. So the minimum requirement for the version will be sticking to 2016 to 2019. We're having also standard enterprise editions for CPU, the core machines. These all will be the minimum configuration with the SQL Server management that we are keeping with Automation Suite. Then comes the load balancer. I think for load balancer also there's a separate slide which Ram will be covering. And then DNS, TLS 1+2, and the trusted certificates, token signing, and SQL connections, encryption certificates. These are the, I would say, general requirement that we'll be covering before the installation.
Okay, so at this point, we would like to walk you through the capacity planning calculator.
Yes.
Sri, you want to go ahead?
So
You
we,
want
so we have already built in the capacity planning calculator where you can just come, depending upon the business use cases that you will be talking about, you can just calculate your requirements. You can add all the products and services that you will be covering depending upon the needs. And you can actually calculate what all will be the minimum requirements and minimum recommendation for the initial configuration that you will be installing. So again, since in this series we are covering multi-node setup, we have also partition for single node and multi-node depending upon the use cases. These are the fields and features which is available.
So once,
Ram, do you want to add on anything? Yeah.
yep. So when you select the products, you can then select the profile, like whether you want to have single node or multi-node, and it is recommended to have multi-node setup for the production. Single node is only supported for the evaluation purpose or demo purpose. It is not recommended to use for the production purpose. And whether your environment is air gapped or not, so it means that your nodes or servers which are part of the cluster has internet, do not have any internet access. So all the installation files will be firstly downloaded to the jump server, and from jump server those files to be moved to the nodes which are available in the cluster, and then the installation will be completed, right? So then you can have various hosts like AWS storage, Azure storage, or whether it's on-prem or something like that. So you can select that. You want to enable backup. So whatever you select over here, based on that, your minimal recommended configuration will be affected and it will be updated, right? So based on that, you can take the decision to raise the resource requirement to set up the automation suite at your organization. Yeah, so I think
Also,
that's
since we are doing with a multi-node setup today. So why don't you just choose the nodes in order to show and the service agents that we were talking on the initial slide for all the configuration. Can you just select and add one feature that we'll be covering next in the demo?
yeah. So we are just going to have the orchestrator.
Yeah.
What I'll do is I'll just refresh this.
Mhm.
Yes. So
So
this
if
is
you can
something
see,
how it
yeah.
looks like.
So this is what we are taking today for the demo perspective, the minimum requirements and the configurations based on the calculation that we have done here, and we'll be taking forward in the further slides for installation.
Okay.
Okay. Also, we will be installing Tmux to access interpreted SSH sessions to observe the ongoing installation process. So these are the commands which Ram will be running in the one of the VMs. We will be taking all the sessions while installing these applications, and we'll be connecting all the specific sessions with a specific name. So Ram, do you want to take the session for the VM?
Yeah, totally fine. So the purpose for having Tmux on the our server is that when we connect to the Linux machine through Putty or any other client, then automatically the SSH session gets interrupted, right? So we lose the access to it. So if there is an installation which is long running, then we will not be able to identify the current status of the installation when the SSH session gets disconnected automatically. So when we install Tmux, we have ability to create a session, like as you can see, a second bullet point, that is create a session, Tmux new -s UiPath underscore install. So UiPath underscore install is a name of a session. So under that particular session, when we run the command, all the in progress data will be reflected onto the screen. So in case if your SSH connection gets disconnected, you can log into your server through SSH, and you can uh, uh, connect to specific session, right? Tmux @h-t, then session name, then whatever the activities are currently being performed will be visible to you from their point onwards. So in a way, you will be able to see what is actually going on, though you get disconnected during the installation, right? So I'll show that. Is my screen readable? The text is readable,
Yes.
or you want me to?
If you can expand a little.
Yep. So I think I have already installed it on this machine, right? So when I create a new session, right? So you can see this green bar is there. It means that your session is going on. So now whatever activity that I need to perform, all the commands that I need to run for installation, I should go with that, so that in case I get disconnected, I can have access to this particular session again, right? And next is RPM packages. So these are the RPM packages which are required, prerequisites which we need to install for UiPath Automation Suite installation. So in the interest of time, what we have done is we have already installed all these RPM packages on our all the nodes in advance. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll take forward the presentation from this particular point. So thanks, Srikirti. Okay. So as Srikirti mentioned that we have 2 TB disk is required, right, in order to install Automation Suite. So these are divided into multiple, what we can call it as it is divided into the disk. So I will show you in Azure how does it look like. So this is my VM wherein we have multiple disks created. This is our primary node. So we have cluster disk, data disk, etcd disk, bundle disk, and object store disk. Right. So bundle disk is something which is only required in offline mode and offline installation mode. And the purpose is that when we are using the offline mode, all the installation file and the supporting libraries has to be downloaded first, right, as a bundle. So those file has to be stored at the bundle disk uh, partition, right? So we already have a disk, but we do not have any partition on that, right? So if you see over here, on cluster disk, we will have 3 different partitions. That is where lib rancher, then where lib kubelet, and opt UiPath Automation Suite, right? So rancher is it stores the container images and layers. Kubelet is it stores the runtime Kubernetes configurations such as secrets, config maps, and mtdr, right? And in UiPath Automation Suite, we are going to move our installation binaries, and we will run our installation from that particular directory. So etcd, we have this particular partition has been created /where lib rancher rke2 server /db, right? And it stores the distributed database for the Kubernetes. So block storage, that is data disk. So this is just as I mentioned, we need uh, it is required for storage. Then object store. So for the object store, we can have the third party object store or maybe on-prem object store. So object store is nothing but where it is the place where our packages will be stored, and we have a bundle disk that is /UiPath. So this is only used in the air-gapped bundle, as I mentioned. So we'll go to the next slide. So it will show how to configure our machine, right? So in that we we can have a look at our disk, right? So there is a command lsblk. By using we can by using that particular command, we'll be able to uh, list all our disks available onto the machine. All right, so I'll just show you. Okay, so as you can see over here, uh, we have this SDA, B, C, D, E, these type of disk available over here, but we do not have any mount point against them, because we will need to create all the mount point mentioned in the earlier slide, right? In this slide, we have discussed all these partitions, right? So these partitions should be created, right? So for that, what we need to do is we need to run a command, and that command varies for a primary node and the other server node, right? So for a primary node, I have created the command well in advance that I'll run. So this is the command, and before we jump onto the command, what we are going to do is we are going to see how this command has been formed. So for that, we need to understand about this particular command, that is LUN, that is logical unit number of your disk. So when I show you it into the this section of our VM, see, this is LUN, right? So for our cluster disk, our LUN is 0. So when we run this particular command, configure UiPath disk.sh, so this is the parameter cluster disk name. All right. So when I want to get that in my machine, what is the name of my cluster disk? So what I'll do is I'll check. I will check the disk name from here for clusters, and its LUN is 0. So what I'll do is I'll put it as 0 over here, and I'll run this command on my terminal, right? Okay. So it has written me dev /dev /sda, right? So that value I have placed over here. So I put this /dev /sda as a cluster disk name. Similarly for etcd disk name, data disk name, bundle disk name, and as we are running this particular command on primary server, we have mentioned this parameter is primary server, and our installation type is offline. So let's run this command. So it will create the partitions that we require for the installation. So execution has been completed. So you can see that when we ran this lsblk command earlier, we did not have any mount points, right? So now when we run this lsblk, you will see some mount points against the disk will be reflected, right? Right. See, as you can see, we can have where lib rancher, where lib kubelet, opt, UiPath Automation Suite, data disk, and this where lib rancher RK2 server DB. And there is one more command by which we can confirm whether our mount points are fine or not. So when you can find this where lib rancher, where lib kubelet, opt automation UiPath opt UiPath Automation Suite, and data disk, and where lib rancher RK2 server DB is available in this output of this particular command, then you are good to go ahead. All right. So once your partitions are created, what we need to do is we need to mark our object store disk as cph row disk, right? So for that, this command is required that will run. Now, as you can see, what this mention is a rotational device. So this is a known issue in Azure disk, because in Azure, yeah, the Azure does not mark the disk as SSD. So as it is considered as non SSD, we need to mark it as SSD. For that, we have this particular command. So our SDE dev slash SDE disk is non SSD. So what we are going to do is we are going to run this particular command, right? As you can see, we have SDE over here, SDE, right? So now our slash dev slash SD disk is marked as SSD. Now we are good to run this particular command. Right? See, this is configured successfully at dev location slash dev SD. Right? So that command is successful. So similarly, for data disk also, we need to run this particular command. So our data disk is configured at SDB slash dev slash SDB. So we are going to run this command for data disk. Yeah, now it is fine. Okay. So similarly, what we can do is we can run all these. Give me a moment. I'll just change the settings. Okay. Okay. So for node 2, we are going to run this configure disk partitions to create the partition, because we just have this, we do not have any partition. So in here, as this is not a primary disk, right? We do not require the bundle disk, right? So that we are omitting, and we are, as this is not a primary server, we are omitting this particular command, right? Parameter. So let's run this. Okay. So as you in LSBLK, you will be able to see the different mountment has been created, right? Now next is we need to mark our object store as CPH raw disk, but before that, what we need to do is we need to mark our disk as SSD, right? Because it is Azure. So we are going to run this command. Similarly, we are going to run this command for data disk as well. Okay. And then we are going to run for the object store disk. Okay. And the same activity has
Sorry.
already been, yes.
Sorry to stop you, Ram. Just pasted the slider link. So if you have any questions, guys, please keep on posted. We are continuously monitoring. We'll try to answer it.
Yeah, thanks for that. Okay. So, the whatever the commands that we have run on this particular second machine, we already ran it on machine 3. So you will already be able to see this range, kubelet, automation suite, data disk, everything over here. So no need to run over it, because we have completed that on in advance. Okay, to save some time. Okay. So okay, so we have covered this configured disk on first server. We have covered configured disk on the other servers, right? We also have configured the object store disk like CPS row disk name that we already ran, and we also mentioned about Azure SSD issue for object store and data disk. Okay, and we need to make sure that certain ports has to be open to enable the communication between the different components that we have in automation suite. So let's have a glimpse on that. Okay, so this is the port 228044358723782380 64438472909345 102503007 right, and corresponding protocols, its source, its purpose, and requirements are already there. So we already have enabled all these ports on our servers well in advanced, right, to save some time. Okay, next. Okay, so next is we need to configure the DNS, right? So when you are going to install your automation suite, it will have some URL to access, right? That is called the FQDN, that is fully qualified domain name. So for that, it could be automationsuite.yourcompany.name.com, right? Then we will have the subdomain for application lifecycle management, that is ALM.FQDN, that is ALM.automationsuite.yourcompany.name.com. Similarly for monitoring, object store, registry, and insights. So you can create this, right? And for that to create, what you need to do is you need to create a DNS with two different records, that is star and @ and when you configure that, you need to provide the IP address of the NLB. So that I'll show you quickly once I complete this particular slide. And you also need to add virtual network link into the private DNS zone, right? So in our case, our DNS name is community session.automationsuite.eastuscloudapp.azure.com, and our subscription name, whatever you have, and virtual network should be created for this particular link, should be the one which is used for the network load balancer. Okay, so I'll quickly show you that particular. So this is the private DNS zone wherein we have created these entries for star and @, and this is the IP which is for our network load balancer, right? This has been created, and virtual network link has also been created, right? And which is for the virtual network that in which our network load balancer has been created. Okay, so now next is SQL database. So Srikirti already mentioned that you should have a specified version of database as a prerequisites. So it can be on-prem as well as from Azure or from AWS as well. So when you install the automation suite, you can have two different approaches, that you can let the automation suite to create database automatically, or you can create by your own. But it is recommended that based on the requirement, if the installer creates the in usual cases, we let the installer create the databases, right? So as you can see, we have various products, its default database name and connection string format. So apart from AI Center, so AI Center uses JDBC, document understanding uses the ODBC, and process mining uses ADO.NET by ODBC. Apart from all these DBs, other databases uses the ADO.NET as a connection string format. And one more thing we need to consider, that for SQL Server, user ID and password we will require and that particular user should have the DB creator role when we are installing the UiPath Automation Suite. Okay. Then next requirement is the certificates. So to enable the secure communication between the server and the client, certificate is required. So when we install automation UiPath Suite, our installer will create a self-signed certificate which will be valid for 90 days. In that particular duration, it is recommended to update them with the these certificate, C certificate, right, for the better security. So automation suite requires 3 files at the time of installation. that is server TLS certificate, which is the server's public certificate file, server TLS key file, which is private key file for the server certificate. Next is certificate authority bundle, which is the public certificate of CA, which is used to sign or issue the server certificate. And regarding our server certificate, the file format should be .pem, which is basically for encoded DER certificate, and private key length should be at least 2048. Okay, and certificate key must be decrypted, and if it is encrypted, then below is the command to decrypt it. Okay, and certificate should have the SAN, that is subject or alternative name, included as a DNS entries. Like in our case, it is community session automation suite dot eastus dot cloudapp dot azure dot com. So star dot fqdn, or if you specifically want to put the specific domain names like monitoring dot fqdn, then objects to dot fqdn or register dot fqdn, then it is also fine, right? Okay, so now we will have a look at some demo. Okay, so for automation suite installation, what we need to do is we need to connect to separate machine with internet access. So this is offline installation. So as I mentioned, our all the three nodes, Linux nodes, will not have access to the internet. In that case, we need to have a machine which has that is a jump server, which should have the access to internet, which can download these packages like install UiPath dot install UiPath as dot sh, sf installer dot zip, and sf infra tar dot gz. I'll just show you that. Okay, so this is where it shows how to connect to your machine, and here download the following packages. So these are the mandatory packages, right? And we are just going to install orchestrator only here. In our case, we are not going to install du or cv. That's why these are the optional, and we are going to ignore this for the time being. Okay, so these are the packages which are some of them are in I think 29 GB or something like that, or 10 or 15 GB. So I have downloaded them in advance, right? So that we don't need to spend more time on that, right? So our next command is we need to copy these particular files, right, on our machine, so which we have already done in advance, right? Then create the installation folders and provide permissions, right? So we need to create a directory slash opt slash UiPath Automation Suite, and we need to provide a 777 permission on that particular directory. Okay, so that is already has been done. Okay, here it is. Okay, also we need to do this. So we are doing this on our primary node, right? Now on the separate machine with the internet access, what we're doing is we are moving our file from jump server to the our first machine, right? So that we have already done in advance, right? The next step will be it's the same that we have available in our PPT, like moving files from our uh, uh, the download directory to /opt UiPath Automation Suite, right? So I'll just make sure that we have required file available. Okay. So I have downloaded my files to this particular directory. That is why I'm just changing the name. Okay. Right. So I'll just show you what we have in this particular directory. Right. These all files are available. Okay. So we'll just move these files into, I'll also show you that in opt/opt UiPath Automation Suite, we do not have anything at the moment. Okay. So let's move all these files. Okay. So now when we see all the required files has been moved, now we also need to move this particular file mb slash okay. Okay, so that our first command is completed. Now what we are going to do is we are going to change our directory to our installer directory, which is /opt UiPath Automation Suite. Okay, so the one process is going on. Let's wait for it to complete. It will take some time. Meanwhile, Sri, if you can see any questions, if we have received.
See, yeah, I see the questions. We'll take it later.
Yep. It is around 29 GB file. That's why it will take some time to move. The only reason that why I did not move this file to this particular UiPath/temp directory is that we did not have this /UiPath partition available. So once we ran that command to create the partition, then after this /UiPath partition came into the picture, and then this directory we created, right? So that's the reason that we could not do that in advance. Yeah, it will take some time. Let's wait for a moment. Please note that we have logged in as the root user, right? So it is mandatory that you have root access to perform all these activities. Okay, great. So our file has already been moved to /UiPath/temp. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, so these are the commands which are already available at documentation. So I'll just get from there. Okay. Then we are just going to unzip our installer zip file to UiPath Automation Suite directory. Yes. Okay. So this is how it does look like, our UiPath Automation Suite directory, right? Now we are going to give the right access, and we are going to export this particular path into the path variable so that we can have access from anywhere. right? Now next is we need to give proper access to our UiPath Automation Suite directory in a recursive manner, right? Okay. And okay. This is also the same thing that we need to export it as a variable bundle file, because this is something which is used into the in online mode. It will, if it is online mode, it will, if it is offline mode, it will try to download the required file if we do not set this particular variable in offline installation. So it is mandatory to do that, right? Okay, now let us provide the
ойлгохтой юм биш. Хэтрээд биш. Халуул мөргөө дундаа.
hello. Okay, so we have provided the executable permission to install UiPath as.share file. Now what we are going to do is we are going to run the installer. So when we run this, this is actually not the, this is not going to install at the moment. What it will do is it will create a cluster underscore config.json file that will hold all the configuration related to your cluster, Kubernetes cluster, right? So let's run that. So this is step 1 for the installation. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, so I have just ran this. So we need to accept the license agreement. Okay, give me a moment. Just say no, so we came out. Okay, yes. Okay, so it is asking whether you want to do the single node deployment or multi-node deployment. So let us go with the multi-node, right? So for multi-node, we should have at least 3 virtual machines. So we already have that. So let's continue installing. Okay, next, what kind of installation you want to do, online or air-gapped? So we want to do air-gapped, or it is also known as offline. So let's go with air-gapped. Which product selection would you like to deploy? So if you choose one, all the products will be installed, and let us go with the selector products, as we just want to go with the orchestrator, right? So as you can see, orchestrator is at number 9, so we can put 9. Along with orchestrator, if you want to install data service, you can put like comma 6, then orchestrator and data services will be installed, but let's stick to orchestrator at the moment. Okay, so confirm your selection that you have selected the orchestrator only. So yes, we are confirming that with 1. Okay, so it's just giving the heads up that, before you move ahead, check your capacity planning, hardware and software requirements are fulfilled. So yes, we have already fulfilled that. Okay, enter the automation suite FQDN. So we have created one for this. Let's go here. Okay, so would you like to bring your own object store for all the products you have selected? So object store, as I mentioned, is nothing but where your packages will be stored. So if you are using third party like Azure Blob storage or S3 Amazon S3 storage, right, then you can go with yes. But in our case, we are not using any third party object store, so let's go with no. Would you like to enable
Okay. Sorry.
Yes,
I think there are a couple of questions. If you mind, we can just take few.
yeah, please.
So there's one like from an orchestrator, from an upgrade standpoint, which is easy to upgrade, standalone orchestrator and orchestrator installed with via Automation Suite. So just to highlight, I mean, these two are different contexts altogether. So standalone orchestrator is something that we are engaging as a separate product. However, if you see from a platform perspective with Automation Suite, you have the flexibility to add other products on the same infra platform. So once the infra platform is upgraded, or maybe the Automation Suite, you're upgrading the version, all the services depending upon that, you can tweak around. But standalone orchestrator is a separate, just one single product that you're updating. So depending upon the need, you can choose which one you want to select among these two. So this was one.
Okay.
There was one more, like what is the destination of all the codes as all the source is provided on a website perspective. So again, the answer would be the destination is the IP of the server machine. So where it is intended, you can port needs to be connected. So for example, for one port, it's 22 is required to be opened. So from your laptop machine, from where you intended to run the installation, so that you can connect all the servers. And node 2 port will be 2379 is required to be open. So these are the ports that you can configure, and depending upon the destination IP, you can tweak around. Last is, what are the challenges you're facing while doing installation of Automation Suite? RK, would you like to take this one?
Yes, yes. So mainly the thing is that when the correct what we can call it as prerequisites are not met, right? In that case,
Yeah.
we run into the problem, right? I'll show you one snapshot right at this particular moment. I'll just zoom it in. Okay.
I think
So
we were
yeah,
also like we'll take frequently encountered questions at the last of the session. However, RK
yes,
is also showing their experiences. And
yes,
like I said, since it is more of a hands-on session while installing, so we'll be more emphasizing on hardware and software requirements. Like these are the minimum requirements that we have to meet. Once it is not met, that is a major roadblock, I would say, before installation. So I think
exactly.
infrastructure requirement is the major need here, the major ask for the installation of Automation Suite.
Right. And also the prerequisite, like, all the packages should be installed properly, right? Prerequisite RPM packages. Plus, as Srikirti mentioned, that all the hardware and software should be installed, right? So hardware should be fulfilled with the minimum requirement, right? So considering that, this is just a demo, I went with the lower end. So, few tests were passed, but my, certain processes or certain application or services were not up and running, right? So I just had to resize my nodes, and then I tried to reinstall the what we can call it the Automation Suite, and then it ran completely fine. Plus the very common issue in Azure is, as I mentioned, that for object store and this data disk storage, where uh, Azure do not mark it as SSD, so we need to manually mark it as SSD to you know for successful installation. Because if you do not do that, so when we run the installation, it will check for the validation. So during the validation, if it finds that certain disks, the required disks like object store and data disks, are not marked as SSD, then it will throw you error, right? Uh, uh,
Right.
plus,
To
yes,
add on that, also there is one related question, like is it mandatory to have all the disk in SSD or HSD will also work? So I would say the answer would be on
SSD.
SSD on the terms of requirements. I would say is it mandatory to have all the disk in SSD for requirement perspective?
Yes, and I think it is 1100 IOPS.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yes, in sometimes what we also miss to run some commands like to mark our object storage CPH raw disk, right? So at that particular time, we also get that issue or the error that your object store disk is not marked as raw disk, so that we need to run that particular command to mark it as raw disk. So yeah, these are the major challenges that I have faced. But yeah, environment to environment, organization to organization, based on the policy, you may face altogether different issues when you know perform the installation, right?
Agreed. So I think there's one more question I'll just quickly bring up. What if the automation suite installation fail? Then what they will do? So I would say it clearly depends on the errors and issues that you're getting. Definitely, you have to check the logs. What is the
Yes.
reason of the failure? It could be hardware dependency. It could be the minimum requirements. It could be your infra setup. So you have to check the logs. That will give you more insight because it's a
Yeah.
vast to answer anything. But eventually,
Yes.
like I said, we have an official document where you can see for the prerequisite that is the major ask for the installation. So yep, if
Yes.
the all prerequisite has been check this, you're good to begin with the installation. Eventually, if that also fails, that could be something that we're lacking with the internal infra side, which is blocking maybe any firewall thing or other stuff. So depending upon the mode of installation, whether it's air gap, non-air gap, taking all the factors into consideration and checking the logs, maybe you can take the measure motives. Ram, if you want to add anything, please go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to add that, failure, the failure can, come in any stage, right? So there are various stages of installation. So if I talk about my personal experience, when I started to install for this particular demo, right? At that particular time when I took this particular all the VMs with the lower configuration, hardware configuration, right? It installer still allowed me to set up the cluster, right? My cluster, Kubernetes cluster was installed. All the the nodes were in the ready status. Everything was working fine. But when I tried to install the fabric, that means UiPath services, right? UiPath products. At that particular, when I ran that particular command, I ran into the problem, right? So it doesn't mean that you need to uninstall everything and try from scratch. What you can do is you can resize and rerun the installation of UiPath services command, so it will take it from there. So no need to remove your clusters altogether, right? Once it is implemented.
While
So
you're talking
yeah,
about cluster also, sorry to interrupt. So I
yep, yep.
think there's one more question. Is there any need for VMs other than the need of the Kubernetes cluster? I think we are yet to cover
Yeah,
Kubernetes cluster,
agent
but
nodes are there.
yeah, and I think to run automation suite, there's no additional VMs outside of the cluster that are required. So however, if the customer does not have any existing machine to run UiPath robots, then these would be likely to be required. And in addition, let's say if any developer or any VM or desktop they're using for automation UiPath suite, so I think automation suite additionally will be fine.
Yeah, so for DU, for CV, for task
Mm.
mining, you will require some separate resources. Also, for if you want to introduce the agent nodes, right, which will share the role of the Kubernetes, all the ports, right? So for that also you can have the different servers available for those separate particular needs. Okay.
All right, I think we can.
Hello. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I have gone through the questions. Okay. So I have one question regarding to the certificate. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, automation suite is a different thing, and orchestrators, that is a standalone things. Okay. So for if we have the multiple orchestrator node, okay, so we are raising the certificate for the one of the node. Okay, and same certificate we are using for the second node as well as the Azure load balancer. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
on orchestrator
Mm-hmm.
standalone setup. So for the automation suite, so if I will create the certificate for the one of the node, so can I use the same certificate for the other four nodes, because we have the server node as well as the agent node, right? And yeah,
Right.
obviously for the application node balancer, okay, application gateway, that is a load balancer in Azure, okay, so same certificate we can use. So my question is that if I will create the certificate for the one of the node, can I use the same certificate for the remaining four nodes, or can I create the separate certificate for each node?
So in my understanding, the certificate has to be created by taking NLB's IP into the account, the DNS that we create, and in that
Hmm.
certificate we need to mention all the our subdomains with FQDN, like as I mentioned, we can put like star.fqdn or maybe specific sense, right? That we can put there, and that certificate we can apply onto the NLB, right?
Yeah, so that thing, yeah, so yeah, obviously we will create the certificate with the help of the domain name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so question is that if I will create the certificate with the domain name for the node 1, okay, because when we are creating the certificate where we are specifying the node, okay, so my question is that can we use the same certificate, okay, we are doing the installation and we need to install the certificate on each each node, right? So
My
can we
understanding,
use this?
yeah, please go on.
Yeah, can we use the same certificate because in standalone orchestrator we must have the same certificate on the second node as well as on the load balancer. So that
Right,
is why I'm asking this question
right,
with
right.
respect to the automation suite.
Right, right. So, I mean, we should not in automation suite we should not have the node specific certificate. Even
Mm-hmm.
if you see my installation, we do not have even created the DNS of the our three nodes, right? It's just that we created DNS which is pointing to the NLB, right? So certificate has to be created with that particular DNS which is pointing to the NLB, and that particular certificate has to be configure with the NLB so that the communication route through that particular NLB with encryption. That's what my understanding is.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
And also you have mentioned one of the object store. Okay, so object store is SDD. Okay, but
Yeah.
if we use the blob storage, right? So in that condition, Azure blob storage for the
Mm-hmm.
package where we are saving our packages in blob storage. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so then we will give that blob storage path while doing the installation, so that whatever the package is there, it will be installed on that blob storage, right?
Right, right, right. We need to provide that configurations.
Yeah, and
Credentials.
also you have mentioned RPM packages. What is the RPM packages?
Yeah, so like to install some softwares, you need to install, say for example, if we talk about standalone, right? So for standalone, you were required to install ASP.NET Core modules, and then you started to install your orchestrator, right? Similarly, in automation suite, there are certain packages, prerequisites, right? That or the libraries that we need to install beforehand to install the automation suite. So it is Linux specific packages.
Okay. Okay, so the other question is that related to the Kubernetes services. Okay, so I can't see you have forcefully installed the Kubernetes services while you are installing. So means when you are installing some packages, so that is the inbuilt, right? Kubernetes services is inbuilt.
Mm-hmm.
Inbuilt
Yeah, yeah.
or
I'll show you that command as well. So where we are installing the Kubernetes, right? So that is command, and there is one command. Currently, the screen as you are seeing right now is it will just create the cluster config.json, which will be used to create the cluster. So it's just we are preparing or we are building a what we can call it as a configuration file with this particular activity at the moment. And then we need to run the command on our first node to take that particular first node into the cluster, and a separate command for the rest of the nodes to join those nodes into the cluster, right? And then the next command will come up to install the our automation suite. I'll show you that. Okay.
okay, so means once it is installation done in all the nodes, then
Mhm.
you will join all the nodes, so that Kubernetes cluster will run in a separate uh,
Y-
mode.
Yeah, what we can do is when this particular configuration will be completed, what we do is we copy all this file /opt UiPath Automation Suite folder from primary node to both the secondary nodes, right? And then on only first machine we will install the Kubernetes, as well as we are on second and third machine we are going to install and join those machines, right? And then after our Kubernetes cluster will be available, and then on first machine we are just going to install it, right? So
Okay.
that is part of our next slides.
Okay.
You'll see that.
Okay. I thought that I can't see that thing, so
You
that
will
is
see.
why I'm
You
yeah.
will see.
I have gone through the document, so that is okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay. So next is, would you like to enable Kerberos auth? No. Okay. SQL Server FQDN.
RK, if you're talking, I think you're on mute.
No, I'm just typing. Okay. Would you like the database to be automatically provisioned for all the products you have selected? Yes, in this case. Okay. Specify the path containing the public additional C certificate. We just want self-set certificate at the moment. We'll just hit the enter. Okay.
I see a couple of
So
questions coming in the Zoom chat. I'll appreciate all the questions coming on the Slido. Have we shared the link of Slido?
okay. So at this stage, I would say that the summary has been displayed. Multi-node true, air gap true. Automation suite FQDN is this. Then our SQL FQDN is this. SQL port is this. Username is this. Create SQL database true. Kerberos authentication false. File path containing the additional C certificate is none. And external object store enabled is false. Okay. You can see the notification that the cluster configuration file was generated at this particular place, right? And now these are the links that you can go ahead to for further installation, right? You can refer it. So let's refer that. All right. So we have completed to this stage. Cluster config has been created. Now copying the installation files on all the cluster machines, right? So scp-r this and username @node DNS, right? /opt. So let us do one thing. This demo. Okay, we'll just quit. What we're going to do is we're going to move file from one machine to another, right? So it's IP over here, my username, and same for the another node, right? We'll run for the first machine. Give me a moment, please. Okay. Okay. Fine. Permission is denied. Let's do one thing. Let's move file to where temp. Okay. Okay, files are moving. This is the second machine. You can see this directory is getting copied. Okay, so files are copied from first machine to the another second machine, right? Let us do same activity for the another node. Moving installation files from one first node to the third node. Meanwhile, let's move this UiPath Automation Suite directory to OPT. Okay, on third node, data transfer is already done. So let's do same thing again. Let's check whether we have UiPath Automation Suite directory available. Yes, we have. Let's move /var tmp UiPath Automation Suite to /opt. Yes, it's PC. Cannot remove. Okay, that's fine. Okay, file is moved in both the machine. Let's have a look at it. /var. Okay, cd /opt UiPath Automation Suite. Okay. 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 So good. So we have all the required files available on second node in right directory. Let's check same for the third node. Okay, let's okay, we have all the files. Okay. So this is a cluster config.json file. As you can see, here it is, right? I'll show you the how this file looks like. So as you can see, this is a FQDN for my already implemented Automation Suite instance. Air gapped is true, right? Profile HA, username admin, password, I've just replaced this with some string. Similarly, Docker registry, right? SQL Server host, username, password, and port, right? And these are the SQL connection strings. Plus, these are the various UiPath services, as you can see, or in orchestrator, test automation, whether it is enabled or not, sorry, action center, test manager, insights, automation hub, automation ops. Say if I want to enable this, then I just need to mark it as true, and then I need to run the installation again. So it will install again, right? Okay, now let's get back to the slide. Okay, so we have completed this particular activity, right? Let's go to, okay, we have also seen the cluster configured JSON, right? Next, create and join all the machine to the cluster. So yeah, so let's set up first machine. Let us go to the first machine. Okay. Okay, so here we can see this installed uipath.sh-i.cluster config.json. So we are inputting cluster config.json as an input to this particular command, this particular script. Output we are marking as output.json -k. So here is your answer. Sorry, I forgot the name. So this will create the Kubernetes cluster. We are the offline bundle from where to refer. So that is from sf-infra.gz that we already have here, right? And offline temp folder is /uipath/tmp. And also we are marking that we need to install offline prerequisites, and we are also accepting the license agreement, right? So this you can refer from here as well, right? Execute the following command, right, on the first server. So I think this is a time consuming command. So what I'll do is I'll just run it, right? And I'll show you the snapshot of its output. Okay. Okay, fine. So as it is running, I'll show you the output of this. So setting up the first machine, right? So when we run this command, right, it will take its own time. It will prepare the Kubernetes cluster on first VM, and you will see this infra installed successfully at the end, right? Similarly, we are going to join the rest of the servers to the cluster, right? So for that, on both the secondary and the third node, what we need to do is we need to run this particular command: install UiPath sh-i. Again, this is a cluster config.json as the input. Output file as output.json -k cluster -j. So we are joining it as a server. We can put as an agent node if we have any, if we are joining it as an agent node. Then we need to mention which offline bundle we are using, that is sf-infra.tar.gz, and offline temp folder is /opt UiPath Automation /tmp. And if we want to install the offline prerequisites, right? So this way we will be able to run this particular command, and we'll be able to join our nodes into the cluster. So let's see how does it look like. Okay, so when you run this on both the machine, you will see like this. Okay, this will be the output, like installing and configuring Kubernetes, creating SEO namespace, UiPath namespace, UiPath infra namespace, like installing RK2 core DNS config ham chart, right? And then finish configuring custom RK2 core DNS, and infra is installed successfully, right? So as these are the time consuming commands, we are not waiting for this to complete, right? We are just going to look at what we can call it as a snapshot for the moment, right? So once this is done, what we can do is we can check whether our cluster is ready and nodes are properly added, right, into the cluster. So for that, I'll we need to export these kubectl commands using this particular export kubeconfig command, right? That I'll show you in my already existing automation suite environment. Okay, so here it is. I think I lose access to this. Okay, I need to connect it once again. Give me a moment. It will take some time. But yeah, let's wait for it. I need to re-access my server. See, as you can see, that command is already running, right? It is checking for the SQL connectivity and all. Is my screen, I mean text is readable, or you want me
Yes,
to increase?
yes, it
Okay.
is readable. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for confirmation. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll run this command that we have just seen in our PPT, right? Now we will get the nodes, right? kubectl get nodes. Okay. So yeah, one is not ready at the moment. I think it is shut down, possibly. Think, yeah, sorry. Actually, the thing is that 8 p.m. is our, maintenance time for our Azure VMs. So possibly they'll get they'll getting restarted automatically. So I'm sorry for that, but yes, you will get you will get ready for ready status for all these VMs. I'll show you into the here in snapshot like this way, right? Like these are the VM name and its status. Okay, so this shows that your cluster is ready, and then this is the command which will install the fabric, like install UiPath sh. Again, input cluster config as an input, output JSON file. F-F is fabric, and -s is UiPath services. It will install, right? And this is actually it may take around 2 to 3 years based on which services that you have opted for installation, right? So that way it the time varies with what we can call it as installation, right? And I'll show you how does it look like. Okay, so when you run this at the end, these are the this is the screen that you will get to see, right? Like pre-sync check succeeded, waiting for UiPath app to become healthy, start validating UiPath child's application health, all trace under service UiPath sync, and then at the end UiPath services installed successfully, right? So this is how you can install your services, right? UiPath installation. Okay. So there are a few things that we would like to demonstrate you, but considering the respecting everyone's time, and it's already 8:07, and somehow our BMs have got into this uh, maintenance mode. So I'll just check whether they got came up or not. So if it is possible, I'll show what are the post installation steps, right? Okay, this got started. Overview, network is allowed. So as a next step, what we are going to do is, so with this command, firstly, you will be able to install your automation suite, right? And as a next step, there are few things that post installation activities that we can consider, and that is whenever you need to run Kubernetes related command, right? For that, every time you need to export this path, right, to get the access of kubectl command. So that I'll show you. I think we have already done that while we ran that kubectl get nodes command, but yeah, we'll do it again. Just let me remove some unnecessary restriction. Yeah, it got restarted.
Yeah, so it will take a time.
Yeah, it will take some time.
So meanwhile, can I ask one question?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. So once automation suite is installed and everything is working fine, okay. So we have already the standalone orchestrator. We have the multiple processes running on that. So how the migration is done
Yeah,
from stand? Uh,
that is altogether a separate discussion and separate activity. It's kind of a mini or maybe a big project based on your what or size of the data that you have on your standalone environment. So for that, there are a few things that we need to take care of. So your path is going to uh, it is already stopped the uh, support to uh, classic folder. So if you're uh, in your environment, in your existing production environment, if your uh, automations are running on the classic folders, then first step is to migrate from classic to modern folders, and then from standalone to automation suite migration needs to be done. For that, there is a tool available that you can leverage for that particular activity.
So yeah, so is it is that tool is available online, or so you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
the access only for that?
No, it is publicly available. You can just Google it out, like, uh,
I think
this
it's
UiPath.
orchestrator migration tool, which
Yes,
you can find on the official website of
official
UiPath.
website. Yeah, in documentation,
Yeah.
you'll be able to find it out. Sorry guys, it will take some time because this is something, in not our hand. It is a policy. This time, our VM run gets restarted automatically.
No, no, yeah, in Azure it will not restart quickly, so it will take a time.
Yep.
Sandeep, I have pasted the link for this migration tool guide.
Okay, so it will automatically migrated all the modern folder data to the automation suite. Okay, so or
There are certain, sorry, it is not
I would say it's
100%
a more of
automated.
a. Go ahead, Ram.
Yeah, it is not 100% automated. So
Hmm.
there are multiple ways by, classic to modern folder migration
no
can be done.
classic no classic to modern folder, that is okay. So automation suite will not support the classic folder.
Mhm,
So consider that everything all the processes in modern folder. Okay, and we
mhm,
want to move this all the processes from
mhm.
orchestrator to the automation suite. So that
Uh,
point of view.
Yeah.
Hmm.
to
So
answer that, okay,
Srikirti, let me take that. So
yeah,
Sandeep, there is a migration tool, and in that migration tool, there are various entities that you can migrate. Most
yes,
importantly, anything which relates to transaction logs, right? The queue
Hmm.
transaction, the queue items, or the logs, right? Those things are not going to be migrated. However, all other entities, right? Like environments, like even though environments, folder, packages, everything gets migrated. On top of it, like what we recommend, you do have, maybe you have heard about orchestrator manager tool as well, right? So in
Yes,
that
yes, yes.
case, yeah, you can use that as well to perform a migration. So however, we recommend to use the UiPath migration tool because that is a more straightforward and easy tool to use.
Yeah, that is okay. So that yeah, whatever you are talking, that is orchestrator migration tool. So it is specific to that. Okay, so if we are
Mm-hmm,
providing orchestrator, okay. So but
mm-hmm,
if we want to migrate from uh, standalone orchestrator, because
mm-hmm,
standalone orchestrator is on a different server, right?
yeah, yeah.
And automation suite is on a different server. Okay,
Mm-hmm,
so
mm-hmm,
if we want to migrate from the standalone orchestrator server to
mm-hmm,
the Linux server that is on automation suite,
mm-hmm,
okay, so as you said, something will be migrated and something not, right?
mm-hmm,
It is not
mm-hmm.
completely migrated. So what are the
Yep.
things we can't migrate?
Yeah, so if you see the documentation link which is being
uh,
opened over here, right? So you
yes,
simply see what is not being migrated and what can be migrated over here. Apart from that, from the connectivity perspective, what you can do,
Hmm.
that's a Windows tool, right? So when you run the
Yes.
exe, it gives you a pop-up ad, right? Now, you need connectivity for both your standalone orchestrator as well as for your automation suite from that machine where you're running the tool. So that you can read the data from your standalone orchestrator and then you can push the data to your orchestrator, which is on automation suite.
Okay, so it is like a integration between the standalone and that kind of thing, right?
Yeah. You can say it's kind of a layer which you can use. So it's a tool where you can read the data from your standalone orchestrator and then you can push the data into either automation suite or automation cloud. So it
Okay,
provides
got
both
it,
the
got it.
features.
Okay, got it. Means it is not automated. Okay, first I need to take the data from the standalone orchestrator, put it somewhere.
Yes.
Okay, then I will run
Mhm.
orchestrator manager. Okay, and whatever the data I have downloaded from the orchestrator,
No,
okay,
no.
I need to push to the
So
automation suite, right?
no. So hold on. So no need to run orchestrator manager here. So Ram, you are sharing the screen, or Srikirti, you are sharing the screen?
it's mine,
Srikirti.
it's mine.
Srikirti, if
Yeah,
you can go a little down.
yeah,
Yeah. So there are screenshots on this. So Sandeep, I'll suggest if you can go through your documentation, right? So
yeah,
this is how the tool looks like. Srikirti, can you maximize the window, please?
yes.
Yeah. So you provide the login credentials and then it gives you the option, right? Connect to on-premise. Once you connect by providing the details to your on-premise orchestrator, which is a standalone one, Srikirti, go down. Yeah. Then you start exporting the data and it shows you like this is what is being extracted. Okay. Now if you can go down again. Now here you connect to either automation cloud or automation suite. You provide the details. like, what is the organization name, what is the tenant name on which you need to migrate, and you simply click a button which will start the import as well.
Okay. So yeah, before that I never gone through this.
Yeah, so if
So
you
that
can go
is
through
okay.
this, I
Okay.
suggest, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I will go through that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The links are
Okay.
in the
Thank
chat
you.
window. Thank you.
Yeah, I pasted the link as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just checking whether my VMs are up or not.
Yeah. Over to you, Ram. I think you can share your screen back again.
Yeah, give
By
me
the
one.
time you're checking for the VM, I think I'll take few questions.
Yeah.
Open the Slido.
So another thing
Okay,
is
so
that, so as you explain, okay, so we can activate the other product after that also. Once we have, just example, we have done the automation suite installation with orchestrator only. We have not
Right.
selected the other feature of the automation suite. Okay, we have done installation, orchestrator is working. So after some time, after just example, after 2 days, okay, I want to use the document understanding, AI center, okay, action center, UiPath app, this feature. Okay,
Right. Right.
so but previously whatever the configuration we have selected, okay, so that as per the orchestrator, that is minimum. Okay, but
Mm-hmm.
if we will select these are the product, so it required the configuration high as compared to the whatever we have selected. Okay,
Right.
so in that condition also we need the down time to upgrade the hardware requirement, right? Or it is a best practice to select the uh, hardware requirement as per the full product. Okay, and then if it is required, then we will switch on the features of the automation suite. What is the recommended way?
I would say whenever we are installing automation suite, we definitely have a prerequisite that we are following, right? So mean the time when we are having add-ons, it clearly enables all the features prerequisite. If given the case, if you have to modify the requirements, eventually you have to go with the automation suite platform upgradation, and then you will be able to leverage the latest version, because obviously with the hardware and software requirements, whatever services you're enabling, that will be keep on changing with several versions. So definitely you have to check the versions compatibility within two given platforms, and then you will be upgrading the hardware and software requirements for both the component.
Okay, so if we are
And
upgrading the hardware and software component, then it need the downtime, right? Because it is basically yeah, our software is mounted on that hardware, right? So if something is if we are extending the existing hardware setup, okay, then it will impact the uh, even though we are using the Kubernetes, right? So it is running on the cluster,
yeah,
but
so
we need to upgrade our hardware, right?
yeah. So Sandeep, when it comes to automation suite, right, from an
Mm,
organization standpoint, you need to first see what are your strategic goals for the next quarter or for the first 6 months, right? So how many
mm,
products you are going to use, and accordingly you restart your installation. So say example, you want orchestrator, you want AI center, which might not be used right away, but it might
mm.
be used after 2 months. Our recommendation is like create that strategic roadmap, and then install automation suite with whatever the products you need, and accordingly you do the capacity calculation. Coming on to the upgrade part of it, or like as the scenario pointed out, like if you have to add a product later on, right?
Mm.
Yes, that will require a downtime. Any application, right? So it's not only UiPath Automation Suite. Any application when we go for an
No.
upgrade,
I no, 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 no. That I know that. Okay, any
yeah,
application, if we are doing upgradation, okay. So currently
hmm
there is version 1.0, and we want to upgrade to the 2.0. Yeah, it
hmm
required the downtime. Okay,
downtime, yeah.
but then what is the importance of Kubernetes services, as we are using the Kubernetes services cluster management? Okay, so that if one of the cluster is down, then other cluster is up. So then
Mhm.
what is the importance of that Kubernetes clustering?
No,
If we
so
Mm,
cluster is more about giving you the HA kind of a scenario, right? Which is high
mm,
availability, right? So even though if your one server node is down, you
mm,
get the high availability, your services are up and running, right? That's how clustering scenario works, right? Whether you talk about Linux machines or whether you talk about Windows, right? Where we have the HA and then we put a Redis behind it, right? So
Yeah, but we have the application gateway, that is a load balancer in Azure, right? So the work of that is, yeah, if something is down, just Linux, I am forcefully I shut down the one of the Linux machine, right? So obviously it will go to the second node or third node.
yep.
Okay, but in that condition, how the Kubernetes cluster is working, right? So yeah, if you are talking that Kubernetes cluster is managing the
So
services.
yeah,
um,
so internally what happens right here for every application, right? For example, or every product, we have different pods which are running on top of this Kubernetes, right? So for
mm, mm, mm,
orchestrator, you will have a pod. For identity service, you will have a pod. For AI center, you
mm,
will have pods,
right,
right?
right.
Right? Like for example, now Kubernetes itself decide. I have 3 servers. I
Mm,
will run according to my control which pod will go on to which server, right?
mm,
So example, orchestrator running on server 1 as a pod, identity is running on server 2, and say AI center is running on server 3. Now tomorrow, mistakenly or something happens on server 3, it goes down. Now
mm,
your AI center pod, which Kubernetes identifies, okay, I'm not able to run this on server 3 because server 3 is down. What it will do, it will take a replica copy of that pod and start
mm.
running it either on server 1 or server 2. And that's where you get the high availability. So even though one of your nodes is down, it creates a replica onto the remaining nodes and then keep on running your service.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, Sandeep?
Yeah, that's it. Because yeah, so yeah, yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware about that clustering. Okay, so I have gone through the document, and
Mm-hmm.
I have written, I have read somewhere that
Mm-hmm.
Kubernetes cluster management, if
Mm-hmm.
something is not working on the one of the cluster, and if we are doing the upgradation, okay,
Mm-hmm.
then Kubernetes services automatically manages that in backend migration is done. Okay, means upgradation of the software is done. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so it will not require the downtime. So that is why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, but it is confirmed that whenever we will do the upgradation, it require
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
downtime, even though
Yeah.
we are using the Kubernetes services, right?
No,
Cluster
it
management.
requires downtime. It requires
Okay,
downtime
okay,
because you are,
okay.
say if you're doing an upgrade also, like a minor upgrade also, you have to do that upgrade on all the 3 servers, right? You cannot do it on one server and then leave the other 2 servers running the services.
Yeah,
So
that is
yeah,
okay. But yeah, so
yeah.
yeah, I am trying to
Mm-hmm.
see what the Kubernetes services
Mm-hmm.
performing the role here
Mm-hmm.
in that case.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, got it. Yeah, thank you very much, Priyesh. Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah, Priyesh, I think we are on top of time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So what I'll do is I'll just show the commands quickly and then we'll wrap up. Okay, because our Azure is taking time to you know uh, restarting the servers. Okay, I'll quickly complete it. So okay, team. So can you see my screen? Hello.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. We
Yes, I
So
can see this room.
okay. So these are the post installation activities. So how to enable kubectl command. So this is the command that we need to run with sudo access to access kubectl. Then accessing host administration, right? So for that we need to set organizer as host on login window. We need to set username as admin, and password we can get by this particular command. Unfortunately, I'm not able to demonstrate this command because our servers are are getting restarted. Similarly, for your default organization, you will have the username as org admin, and password will be you will be able to get from this particular command. And once you use this particular password to log in into your uh, orchestrator, it will ask you to reset your password. So you can do it that particular time. Next is Argo CD, right? For Argo CD, what you need to do is to access Argo CD, you need to use https://alm dot your fqdn, right? And then you need to uh, use the username as admin, and this command will help you to get the Argo CD password, right? By logging into Oracle City, you will be able to see the UiPath application services available, various ports available, and the status of all those ports, right? Whether they are processing or they are running, right? Whether they are degraded, right? So that monitoring can be done. Next is accessing Rancher. So Rancher is nothing but a monitoring tool. So you can access it by monitoring.fqdn, right? Its username is admin, and your password you can get it using this particular command, kubectl get secret / rancher admin password -n kettle system -o and your JSON part to the password, right? That way you will be able to access the monitoring portal, right? And the next are the accessing the service database connection strings, right? So in some cases you may want to check what are the connection strings to my database for different products, right? So using these commands you will be able to get the database connection strings. Plus when you install it, you need to perform the client. You need to configure the client machine to access the cluster for both evaluation test and the production environments. For Windows, what you can do is you can run these commands to enter your NLB's IP or DNS to your host file that is available in Windows System 32 drivers etc/hosts, right? And all the various DNS we talked about talked in previous slide will be added into that particular host file. Similarly, in macOS and Linux, we have just displayed two different DNS, but we need to put all this community this FQDN, ALM.FQDN, objectstore.fqdn, registry.fqdn, monitoring.fqdn, and insights.fqdn. That way you will be able to access automation suite from the client machine. Yeah. So yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
Just one thing, RK, if you can go back onto the previous slide. The last point that is mentioned over here, like the host entries, that is only needed when you're running the automation suite on the SSL certificate, which is used during the installation or created during the installation. But once you upgrade it to CA, there is no need for it. So it is just like, you have installed something, there is the root certificate is missing onto the client machines, and that's where you make these entries.
Right. It's like when we have a self-certificate. Thanks, Suresh, for that explanation.
Thank you, Priyesh, and thank you, Suresh. Sorry, thank you, RK. I think there are a couple of questions which is more of a repetitive one. What are the consequences that we face while installing? I think RK covered during the slide, and we also discussed more about. It's more of a hardware requirements before installation, the prefix that we needing to check. And I think he has already covered. We'll also be sharing the screen recording of the session, so maybe you can go through the recordings one more time. The other thing is, which is on a repetitive, is why we use enterprise ready suite. So I would say this automation enterprise ready suite includes many capabilities, which is like all several products available in one suite, which is not as a single applications. And again, it's a technical infrastructure that will be including UiPath portal platform services across all the products and tenant services. Also, a single installer, which will be including the embedded Kubernetes and other management tools, which will be simplifying the deployment management and access of all the products. Personally, if say given the chance, I would recommend automation cloud as the first step. But if you have to choose because of the security constraint and other constraint of any in-house hosting of the server, automation suite is the best, which can include all the capabilities of all automation cloud. That answers the question. I think there are a couple of more. Maybe we'll try to answer over the Slido. I think closing notes, RK, if you have anything, Priyesh, if you have anything to add on.
I don't have anything.
No, nothing from me.
Okay. Thank you so much. I think Rohit, we are good to close.
Yes, awesome. Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone. You will see the content, the recording and the presentation in your mail by tomorrow. Yeah. Okay. Thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you so much, guys,
Good
for
night.
Thanks,
joining.
everyone.
Bye.
Have a good.
all.
Thanks,
Bye bye.
Have a great day. Bye.